I gotta do nothing? I'm on my winning streak. I don't want to ruin my winning streak. Besides, you haven't even asked nicely yet.
Fine. Can I please have a turn now?
No.
Why, you...
Hey, give it back.
No. Stop being so selfish, Bella.
Oh, Andy, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you.
Go away. I don't want your help.
But I said I was sorry.
Well, I don't forgive you.
Well, then I take back my apology. You started this whole thing in the first place.
Alrighty, what do we have here? These two youngsters had decided not to forgive one another. Well, I know what that means then. A rock for them both. Wow, these are their first rocks of unforgiveness. Hopefully, they don't hold on to them for too long. All right, we're done here. On to the next one. I think I heard some around the corner who want to hold on to some rocks of unforgiveness.
Hello. Hi. My name is Joshua Patrick Ferdinandez, the first and only. I'm 15 years of age, and I attend Fuel Youth Group at Gracegate. For those who don't really know me, I like film, longboarding, bass guitar, and other fun things that any 15-year-old would like. The craziest thing that I've ever probably done was listen to and believe my older brothers. You'll see why in a second. And one day I dreamed to become a filmmaker or a photographer, because that's what I really like doing. But like all of you, I also struggle with forgiveness. So don't worry, you're not alone. So I'm going to share a story with you. So I am one of 3 boys in my family. The best one of the 3, of course, because I'm me. And as you can imagine, we have a lot of, let's say, things happen between us. And one in particular I'm going to share with you today. So usually I am the one that has to apologize, because to be honest, I'm the cheekiest one. But on this occasion, Jordan, my oldest brother, who FYI works here at Gracegate, had to apologize to me. So I was about 3 years old. I had climbed up a cabinet that was about this high, and he told me that if I jumped off the top of it, he would catch me. And me, being the innocent 3-year-old that knew nothing, I believed him. Big mistake. As I jumped off the dresser, as my feet left, and I could not stop, he moved. He just moved aside, and I fell face flat onto the ground. I promised that if it was filmed, I would be the biggest internet sensation today, but it didn't happen. But boy, did I cry. I cried so much, like it hurt, but it was sort of worth it, because I got to see my brother get in so much trouble with my mom. And he probably feared for his life at that moment, and fair enough. He had to apologize to me for what he had done, making me jump off the top of the thing and not catch me. Thanks, Jordan. That's why my nose is a little bent. Wait, no. He wrote that part. I did not. My nose is straight, I promise. But this is the main thing. When we don't forgive, we start to smell really bad. Let me illustrate this, all right? When we don't forgive, we sweep things under the carpet like this, right? It's small, it's hidden, right? But it's not. It smells bad and can grow and can cause us to trip up in the future. We need to deal with this before we have a mountain of junk under our carpets. Like that. See, we all make mistakes and we all sin, and that's okay. But when we do sin and when we do mess up, we need to deal with it as well, not just leave it aside. But we also have to ask God to forgive us. I want to share with you a Bible verse. It's in 1 John chapter 1, verse 8. And John writes that if we claim to be without sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. I'll say it one more time. If we claim to be without sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. Which is pretty much saying, oh, everything is fine, but it's not really. It's just swept under the carpet, and it isn't dealt with, and we're actually just lying to ourselves and everyone else. A semi-real life example of this is in Snow White, when the birds and dwarves are sweeping the house and singing and whistling, and the squirrels start sweeping the dust under the carpet. Snow White sees this and says, not under the carpet. And we should be like Snow White in a sense, in this case. Well, we shouldn't sweep things under the carpet. We should try and not sweep things under the carpet. Wait, where am I? Because, you see, the longer that we have this trash under this carpet, the more it begins to stink and rot and just brew in grossness, and the more it could ruin our lives in the future. I just want to encourage all of you to not sweep things under the carpet and to deal with it then and there, like when it happens, and experience the freedom of forgiveness. But if you already have things that are under the carpet, big or small, I want you guys to deal with it. And you may be asking, how can I deal with what I have swept under my carpet? I'll tell you, today's your lucky day. All you need to do is ask God for forgiveness. It's really just that simple. You don't have to be embarrassed or ashamed. Everyone has it. You don't have to hide it for any longer. All you have to do is ask God for forgiveness. It's really that simple. You don't have to hide it for any longer. We all have it. Just deal with it now.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm 16 years old and I attend the Field Youth Group at Gracegate. For those who don't know me, my interests are basketball, music, reading and dance. The craziest thing I've probably ever done was build a snow cave in the middle of winter. And one day I'd like to be either a dietitian, physio or radiographer. Like most of you here, I struggle with coping with the emotional, imperfect world we live in. I'd like to share this story with you. Imagine this. You're a newly engaged couple, excitedly sharing your news with family and friends. This should be the happiest time of your life, right? This should be the time where families unite. When your family is extremely happy you found your life partner. Afraid not. Instead of your family being happy for you, they verbally abuse and threaten you. They are definitely not happy. Not at all. They tell you that your chosen partner isn't good for you, and unless you call off the engagement, you won't be considered part of the family. You'll be cut off. They then say that if you do go ahead with the engagement, they won't show up. Just imagine that. Your own family turns against you because for some reason that makes sense only to them. They don't like your choice of partner and insist on obedience to their will. After all, the fourth commandment says honour your mother and father, and everyone knows honour and obedience are synonymous, right? Wrong. The months leading up to the wedding can only be described as a living hell. You're riddled with anxiety and stress. Your family continues to verbally abuse you and your fiancé, causing added stress to an already stressful time. Now imagine this, the night before your wedding. Your brother phones you and tells you not to go through with the wedding and tells you they won't be there if you continue. You have upset them so much. You have hurt them. You are bad. What sort of twisted reality is this? They are executing a weird grudge of their own imagining, and it's all your fault. The next day, they do in fact turn up and pretend like nothing has happened. How would you feel? Mad, annoyed, resentful? Would you hold it against them? Would you blame them for turning the happiest time of your life into a living nightmare? Years later, would you talk about and think about it and how they made you feel? Would you hold a grudge? If this happened to me, I would really struggle not to hold a grudge. The sad thing is that this story is true. It happened to people I know, and even worse, it's not unique. People do not always behave rationally or even nicely, but it's how we choose to respond that is important. How do we not resent and feel dislike for those who have treated us badly? And what's the difference between holding a grudge and being wary of someone? When does being wary of someone turn into a grudge? Well, grudges are long-term and persistent. They're more than caution, they are more holding resentment and ill will towards someone for a prolonged period of time because of a perceived or real wrong. Grudges have the tendency to affect you, the person holding the grudge, more than the person you're holding the grudge against, because generally the person you're holding a grudge against doesn't know you're holding a grudge. It affects you more because all your attention, your time, your energy is so focused and concentrated around the act that hurt you and has caused you to hold a grudge. This causes the grudge that you're holding to become obsessive. It becomes something that defines you because it gives you a purpose in life. However, this sense of purpose is not positive, it's negative. The grudge and all things that come with it have a negative effect on our life. The grudge becomes painful, harmful to maintain, and becomes a boulder in our day-to-day life. This boulder is what stops our personal growth and becomes a weight slowing us down and holding us back. The boulder clouds our mind and doesn't allow us to think clearly or reasonably. It stops us from taking responsibility because we are blaming others for something they did to us instead of taking responsibility for how we respond to their actions. Someone who is holding a grudge identifies himself as a victim. It becomes like, I'm a goodie, you're the baddie type of situation. As someone who is victimized, we unintentionally announce that we are deserving of extra kindness and special treatment. We announce that we are in need of rescuing. Recently at school, one of my friends had a really bad breakup, and he's been quite distant lately. However, she's been going around and kind of trash talking him in some sense. So she's also exaggerating the truth, and in my opinion, it's to gain more attention from her peers and everyone around her. Now, I haven't told you how the people cope with the family who rejected their marriage. I don't believe they're holding a grudge. They realize that they have to be responsible for their own actions, and ultimately they must be happy with them. While the abuse and rejection hurt deeply, and they chose not to be the victims, they realized their abusers were people with needs and problems, they're not opponents. They may never have a close, nurturing relationship with their family, which is very, very sad, but they don't need to hurt themselves more by holding onto the grudge. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 31 to 32 says, "Get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, harsh words, and grudges, as well as all types of evil behavior. Instead, be kind to each other, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, just as God through Christ has forgiven you." God doesn't want us to hold grudges. He wants what's best for us. And what's best for us is letting go of our grudges and forgiving those who have wronged us.
Hey guys, I'm Georgia. I'm 16 years old and I'm a part of the field youth group here at Gracegate. For those who don't really know me, my interests are dance, acting and singing. And one day I have a dream to do travel and get to know other cultures. Yes, like all of you, I also struggle to forgive. Forgiveness is the key to getting over the wrongs others have done to us. In my personal experiences when forgiving people, everything in you is full of anger, hatred, and you want the other person to feel the pain and hurt. This also relates to what Hannah said of holding a grudge and its guilty pleasure. We all love to think about how we would have the right words to say at just the right time to make our enemies feel small in front of all the right people. But by forgiving, we are confessing and letting God in to take a hold of all of our sins and shame and start fresh. This is why God is so special with his continuous love of hope, of change and sculpting. Jesus writes his laws on our heart and our mind and forgives us for all the bad we've done in our lives and cleans us up. In 1 John 1:9 it says that if we confess our sins, he is faithful and just and will forgive us our sins and purify us from all unrighteousness. In other words, God will continue to forgive us time after time, forever. As Hannah and Josh said, no mess under the carpet and no grip of the grudge. By doing this, God also reflects on us to take on the strong act of forgiving. But before using forgiveness, we have to have knowledge that we are forgiven. The pain you perceive is genuine. However, with God's help, it shouldn't continue to happen. The act of forgiveness is the grasping concept of how to cease the wound of not continuing to go down a bad path and moving forward. A way of dealing with hurt that you can do is to always speak to God and ask for help, and in effect, God can give us a different perspective of looking at life. But by just using the words of, "I forgive you," doesn't always mean you will forget. As Josh and Hannah have said, these grudges are always building up and you are hurting yourself. Today, you all have the choice to forgive. I personally would like to impact you to forgive us when we didn't deserve it. He asks us to do the same and forgive others who we think don't deserve it either. When we do this, we are being like Christ and forgiven people to forgive. Thank you.
Letting go of every single dream, I lay each one down at your feet. Every moment of my wandering never changes what you see. I've tried to win this war, I confess. My hands are weary, I need your rest. Mighty warrior, king of the fight. No matter what I face, you're by my side. When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust in you. You are my strength and comfort. You are my steady hand. You are my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand. Your ways are always higher. Your plans are always good. There's not a place where I'll go you've not already stood. When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust in you. When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust in you. I will trust in you.
Today we all have the opportunity to get rid of our rocks. And do you have your rock in your hand? If you don't, just grab it, pick it up. If you don't have one, there's some at the back. If you guys can dish them out. Does everyone have a rock? I want you to hold it up quickly. All right. Today, no matter how we came in today, no matter what rocks sort of we've got going on in our lives, we have a God who says, you know, He wants to take these rocks away. And as all the kids illustrated today, it's actually quite basic. It's actually, you know, so easy to trust in a God who can do the impossible, who can help us move these mountains. And the reality of it is actually this becomes a burden if we want to hold on to it the whole time. I just was looking around and everyone sort of had chucked their rock on the floor already, just through sitting today in church. And today we don't want to end the program without giving each one of us the opportunity to actually, just think a bit about what everyone's been sort of communicating to us today, and actually having the opportunity to actually just respond to God and just to say, hey, God, there's that person, and maybe that person is a couple of years ago, maybe it was a couple of months ago, maybe it was a couple weeks ago, maybe it was actually just the other day, maybe it was this morning as you were driving, whatever. Today we want to give you the opportunity to just give it back to God and just say, hey, God, I struggle with forgiveness. I want you to help me. And maybe it's not forgiving someone, but maybe it's also just actually accepting and experiencing that forgiveness for yourself. Maybe it's something you've done in the past, and also not just the past as in way back then, but maybe it's just a couple of weeks ago, maybe it's a couple of days or hours ago, and you struggle with actually just accepting that forgiveness. You just hold on to this rock and it just weighs you down. Today we have the opportunity to just surrender that, to just let it go and just to say, hey, God, I want you to take that and I want you to help me. Help me to experience your forgiveness, and not only that, but help me to learn how to forgive others. So we're going to listen to a song, and as we do that, I want to encourage all of us to take that rock, maybe just take a moment just to be quiet with yourself, and just say a prayer maybe to God. And when you feel like, hey, God, I just want to surrender that, I want to invite you up and just to let it go in front.
Letting go of every single dream, I lay each one down at your feet. Every moment of my wandering never changes what you see. I've tried to win this war, I confess. My hands are weary, I need your rest. Mighty warrior, king of the fight. No matter what I face, you're by my side. When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust in you. Truth is, you know what tomorrow brings. There's not a day ahead you have not seen. So in all things, be my life and bread. I want what you want, Lord, and nothing less. When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust in you. I will trust in you. You are my strength and comfort. You are my steady hand. You are my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand. Your ways are always higher. Your plans are always good. There's not a place where I'll go you've not already said. When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers as I
Hey, God, today we just want to thank you that you're a God that seriously does the impossible. And today, no matter how we came to church and You know our lives, you know the struggles we go through, you know the stones and the rocks that weigh us down. Today, as we just surrender this to you, I pray that you can seriously do something in our life, that you can seriously help us to let go and experience the forgiveness that you want to give each and every one of us. So we praise you today, and we just celebrate your forgiveness in our lives. In Jesus' name, amen. I want to just ask all the kids, everyone who was a part of the program today, can you guys come and stand with me in the front? All right? Don't be shy, everyone. Yeah, please fuel everyone. Radiate, Grace Kids, Salt. All right? If you're a part of any of those, you can come to the front. Daniel, you guys can come as well. All right, yeah. All right. Now, we sat here, and I don't know, but I've stood up here many times, guys. And often when I stand up here, I see a lot of old people sleeping, all right? But today, I don't think anyone was sleeping, all right? So you guys did an excellent job. And to show you guys how much we value and appreciate what you guys did today, I want all of you guys to stand and seriously applaud these guys like you have never applauded before, all right? Come on. These are basically the leaders, all right, of Gracegate. Honestly, it's all the young guys. And you guys have taught us a big, valuable lesson today. And I want to thank you guys for taking all the time. These guys were here almost not every day this week, but they came this week and they practiced. And they practiced last night. They practiced this morning. And we really appreciate it. You guys did an amazing job today. And a big thank you to all the parents who drive their kids all the time to Radiate and to Fuel and Salt and everything. Yeah, we can give your parents a hand. All right. We really thank you guys for that. And today we want you guys to take home something, all right? So we got you guys a gift, all right? Now, we want you as a whole family to take one of these forgiveness rocks jar home, all right? So this jar, you're going to place it on your table, maybe in your kitchen or something, and you are going to use this every time when you guys get angry with someone or you're upset or whatever happens in your life. Maybe you're upset with your parents or anything like that. You're going to go and you're going to find a rock and you're going to put this rock in the jar, all right? And then when you're ready to let it go, you're going to open the jar, take the rock out, and just chuck it away, all right? Not at any cats or dogs or houses or any other person or siblings, all right? Yeah. All right? So we want to encourage all, like the families, if you guys can take a jar on the side before you leave. And we want to thank you for joining us at Gracegate today. We've got an awesome lunch, hamburgers. So let's leave celebrating. And thank you so much, guys, for everything you did today.